Tom Brady is a cheater, a confirmed cheater, an admitted cheater, and Peyton Manning is the GOAT. And we are the Denver Broncos, the DNVR Broncos Podcast, coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, where this show is driven by your Front Range Toyota stores, the official vehicle of DNVR. What's going on, fellas? We're rocking and rolling with Super Bowl 50 champion Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm, you here behind the camera, and yours truly.
It's a good day.
Good Cinco de Mayo?
It's windy.
Yeah.
The wind's going crazy. But no, I didn't really do much for Cinco de Mayo. Kind of just hung with the fam. But good day. Good weekend.
Yeah. It was super windy. It was actually, I hadn't even thought about the wind since you said that. But like, so we were playing some cornhole yesterday. But the wind was ridiculous. So I kept just like missing all over the place, which was awful. The window was open in the bedroom last night, which was awful. It was just like bang, 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 and eventually just had to like wake up and close it. I don't know. There's my wind update.
Did you guys watch the Tom Brady roast?
No, I just don't. I don't need to see.
I've seen
That's
little
all
clips and quotes.
I like watched it through Twitter via just like all the clips that were out there. That was it. Although I did see Tom take a shot at Peyton.
I'm sure. I don't need to see any more Tom Brady.
He said, Peyton, I know you live in Denver some of the time. I know you lived in New Orleans some of the time, but you'll always live in my shadow.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's a real funny guy. Yeah. I feel like we have like 10 jokes every day better than that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Can you give us one right now? We need to wash that one away.
I don't think I can. Not on the spot.
Yeah,
they have to come naturally.
You know what you can do? You can give us the inside scoop.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Bo Nix, just a week after drafting him, Henry has dove into the film to give us the inside scoop on exactly what the Broncos are getting in Bo Nix. We've talked about the stats a lot. We've talked about a lot of other things, but let's just get right into the film to see exactly what type of player Bo Nix is going to be for the Broncos.
Wow. Yeah.
Probably
was a little frantic
clips.
there. Go. No, it's not. It's not going to be enough clips this time. First of all,
over under 8.5. Todd.
Over for sure.
Over.
We'll see. This is like one of their favorite concepts there. I think this is a hitch out here. Doesn't really matter. This is just a little slot fade, clear things out. And they just run the out in behind because these guys have to go deep back here.
Is this the first or the second?
This is the second
game?
one. This is the Pac-12 championship. But this is the kind of stuff that, here, we can just click right through. So there's this guy going upfield. He's going to set this up. Just break outside. Bang. He's open. And then he catches. And then it's Troy Franklin. Or no, it's not. It's Tez. It's not Troy Franklin this time. So he makes a bunch of moves, picks up a bunch of yards. So this is kind of an interesting one. It's one that I want to ask Todd about because this is a pro concept. Like, this is kind of like a West Coast staple. You clear this guy out, you run the out in behind. The difference is, though, you're running it with receivers. And you do have the tight end on the backside, so it's still 11 personnel. But typically, when you see this in the NFL, you don't have 3 receivers to one side, in part just because of the wide hashes with the space. How much do you think they can run this with the receivers versus that being a tight end? And how does that kind of change things? Because this to me is an example of like the transition from a spread offense to more pro style.
You know, I think this is exactly what they're going to do. And you actually do see it a good amount in the pros, especially if you're playing Kansas City, if you're playing like Miami, if you're playing teams with good offensive coordinators, this is exactly what they're going to do to you. And it makes the matchups very easy. If you get a wide receiver on the tight end, we're throwing the ball there. If you get corners over, so now it's man to man, we're probably going to isolate the tight end on the backside.
Yep.
So this is exactly what New England used to do with Edelman, and then they would put Gronk on the backside, and the tight end was being guarded by a linebacker. We're going to fade right now.
Exactly.
So I think it's definitely what we can do as the Denver Broncos, and it is smart to do. Smart football.
Yep.
You wouldn't allow that. You wouldn't allow a fade over you.
No, not at all.
It sounded like you were saying maybe a linebacker's a good person to attack there.
In the eyes of offensive coordinators, I didn't say in my
okay,
eyes.
smart.
I'm saying that's what they do. You know what
I
I'm
had to
saying?
clarify.
Yeah. Again, the reason that works with, I mean, you have a corner, which leaves a linebacker in here, and he's going to be responsible for moving out. There's no way he's going to be able to do that. But by putting tight over here, you've got a corner over there, and that's where you kind of like tweak the matchups.
Zuriel says he's got a tight end on his backside.
There we go. We were due for that.
Wow.
This is another one. It's not the craziest play, but I'm pretty sure that's Troy Franklin there at the bottom. It's one-on-one coverage, and so what do you do here? You scare him with your speed, and then you just run the little curl right behind him.
9 yards off, God.
Exactly. And so he just runs a little curl, bang, easy play. And again, this one's Troy Franklin. So you make the receivers miss. He gets up the sideline and picks up some yards. Again, it's not the most complicated stuff. I think it's one of the reasons people weren't so high on Bo Nix coming into this is because there were so many simple throws. You know, there's a bunch of different ways to look at that, but like Pro Football Focus, they do the big time throw percentage. And of all the quarterbacks in the draft class, Bo Nix was last in terms of the percentage of his throws that they deem big time throws, which are either like deep balls or like tight windows, those sorts of things. Some of it is, though, Bo Nix finding these matchups like this one and just knowing that it's an easy completion.
And that's the thing. The game of football does not have to be hard. Like you can overcomplicate it, and you can, take some big shots, and sometimes you come with the ball, make big plays. But if you do this down the field consistently, it's going to lead to a lot of completions, a lot of yards, which he had, and it's going to lead to a lot of long drives. We're putting together 8-9 play drives, really wearing out this defense that in the fourth quarter we just find a way to win against. Football doesn't have to be hard. For me, if I was an offensive coordinator, I'm always finding the easy matchups, and I'm taking it, and we're just going to keep marching down the field. And every now and again, I'll take a shot, but most of the time, I'm finding the matchups.
So it sounds like, well, why would everyone not do that? And probably the reason is it creates more. You have to do that more times. Your drives are going to be 8 to 10 plays instead of 3 to 7 plays. So it creates more opportunity for there to be mistakes and mess ups. So when I think about this and why certain quarterbacks could probably thrive in an 8 to 10 play drive instead of a 3 to 5 play drive is just decision making and being able to consistently make good decisions and not have mess ups. Because if you have a mess up one every 5 times, you're going to be throwing a pick one every 5 plays. You're taking a brutal sack one every 5 plays. So to me, is that right? Is that what makes the difference between a quarterback that can do sustain long drives all the time is just like elite decision making?
Yeah, you have to be smart with the football. You got to know where your matchups are, and you can't put your team in a bad position. We hate talking about the Chiefs on here, and as many times Patrick Mahomes takes shots down the field, a lot of it is those intermediate routes. Like I'm finding matchups, and whether McCole Hartman can make the catch or not, that's not on me, but I found the right matchup and got it to him at 7 to 10 yards. Not every throw is Tyreek Hill anymore. I think they started seeing everybody, okay, now, especially what Tyreek did to the entire league, everybody's playing everything top down. So the underneath stuff is there, and they want to take away all the over the top throws. So I think it's smart, especially the way that the NFL is going, and everybody's running that Vance Joseph, Vic Fangio defense, play everything top down. If you have a fast guy, we're just going to eliminate him. It's very smart to keep getting chunk after chunk after chunk. And then if you got guys playing 7 yards off, like you run a hitch, the only way that's getting picked is if you comes off your hands. You know what I'm saying? So smart football.
Yep. And the other piece of this is that it's an RPO. So I don't have the handoff, but you can see, I mean, these guys are all just upfield blocking. So just you either hand the ball off or you just hit the hitch behind.
Now we talk about cheating. That's cheating.
That is cheating. No, they
As
are
a
too far
linebacker,
downfield.
that's so
They are
trash.
too far downfield. That's the other trend. Like when you're looking, you go through and watch these games. You're like, okay, was this an RPO? Was it not? And it's never like a question because they're all like 5 yards downfield
sure.
every single time. And I don't think I ever saw it get called.
No, never.
Yeah. Can move along. One of the complaints is that Bo goes through his reads a little bit too quickly. This is another thing that Oregon love to do. They stay over and over, especially at the goal line. These little pick plays. Just go right out here. This guy runs underneath him. And there it is. And you have 2 defenders. You got this guy sitting inside. Bo doesn't like what he sees here, which surprises me because I think I would really like it. And it's maybe a little bit tough from this angle. Maybe this guy can actually... Oh...
Yeah, I see like a touchdown right there.
I also see a touchdown. This one. There we go. You can see him kind of Oh no.
Oh, what is
I'm trying. I don't know.
done?
You did it.
I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?
There
I
we
don't
go.
think you can blame me here
Well,
on this one.
we might just have to go with no more drawing, I guess. So this guy, again, like maybe he could slide right underneath. You can't really tell from this angle. Oh, he hit play. Okay. Okay, now we draw. There we go. We're back. Could he like dive under there? It really doesn't look like it.
But is that inside guy taking the vertical or is he square?
He takes the vertical.
But is he square right now?
I don't
I'm
think
trying
so.
to see what Bo sees.
I mean, to me, this guy's obviously going to the end zone, and he winds up going in the end zone. This guy's trying to fight through.
Okay.
And I don't think he's able. I mean, it's tough to say for sure. It really looks like he should just throw this ball, though, because I'm not worried about this guy. You just put that right there. It's a touchdown. Bo, though, decides, I'm going to roll out of the pocket, and then just whips this ball, like, off platform into this tiny little window right here, and it's a touchdown. So it all kind of works out in the end, but that is one of the complaints. And it doesn't happen all the time, but does he get off the open receiver a little bit too quick and then just go make a play of his own? And the modern NFL, it feels like that's a complaint with like 90% of the quarterbacks who come out. Like ever since Patrick Mahomes, it's all guys who it's like, he doesn't really like read the field, but he makes something good happen in the end. And Bo has that capability, but you just want to make sure if there's a touchdown there, you take the touchdown.
Yeah, there's no doubt about just taking the touchdown if it's there. But I feel like this is honestly a little refreshing for Broncos fans because I think when you think of Bo Nix, you don't think about his athleticism. And now he's not the most athletic person. He's not going to be Josh Allen just running people over. But he is athletic. And it's a good reminder that he does make plays on his own. And if the pocket breaks down or if he misses that first read, he can go out and make plays. And like you said, he was throwing off his back foot there running around. So I actually find that kind of encouraging, especially because the biggest issue with reads is if he doesn't go through them fast enough. I think you can slow a quarterback down. Sean can help slow a quarterback down, but you probably it's a lot more difficult to speed a quarterback up going through reads.
Yeah, I feel like these two statements like contradict one another. Like either he's taking the easy throws and quick throws, or he's coming off the receivers too fast. I don't know, pause maybe. But like, I don't know if you could do both. You know what I'm saying? Because he's either taking the money fast, or he's not taking the money and can't see the field. Like, I don't know how he can do both.
Yeah, exactly. We can go through here one more. So this one, speaking of the athleticism, everything all spread out, gets pressure off the edge here, pump fakes, gets the guy way up in the air, just runs around him. And this shows off the athleticism because he is a great athlete. I mean, he was the #1 dual threat quarterback in his recruiting class. So let's see. Where is this? This is the 44-yard line about that he starts, or the line of scrimmage. Runs all the way up the sideline. There's the 20 right there. So what's that? That's a 36-yard run. He's capable of busting off some big ones. And there we go. Yeah.
You like that, Todd.
Okay, yep, Bo Nix is fast. Moving along.
That's not what you said.
The big time throw percentage. So you do see some of these tight window throws. This one, I believe it's this guy on the crosser. Let me double check. Oh, it's the outside receiver on the crosser. So yeah, so they actually run a little pick here, sort of, and let this guy trail in all the way across. Takes a while to develop. You see him right here. He's trying to fight his way through. He's going to go up over that guy now. This is not an easy ball. That's the football right there. You can barely see it. Like, that's inches away from the guy's fingertips. It goes right in the receiver's hands. He's not able to, like, run with it afterward because that was just impossible. But you do see a few throws like this on tape that you get excited about. And I think the most exciting part of these throws is that he only threw 3 interceptions last season. So when you see him make a throw like that, if it was, say, Zach Wilson, for example. Zach Wilson makes that throw, you're like, okay, good throw, but we know like that's 50-50 just getting picked off.
Yeah.
So what is it really? So when you are avoiding turnovers at the rate he did, completing the pass at the rate he did, when you sprinkle in a couple throws like that, I think that's where you get really excited about him.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Let's continue to dive into this and maybe look at some comps on who he is after I tell you about our friends over at Toyota, where they've got so many cool cars that you can choose from, including the RAV4 Hybrid. Henry, you're a big fan of Coach Prime. You can actually get the RAV4 Prime and get 94 miles per gallon because it's a plug-in hybrid, almost 100 miles per gallon with that
crazy.
RAV4 Prime, and very affordable. Also, their RAV4s are awesome. And then you got to check out the Venza. The Venza is like one of my favorite cars of all time. Came out maybe like 15 years ago, and it's swoop. I'll tell you that. It's very sleek and swoop. So check out our friends over at Toyota, where you can stop by literally almost any corner, and they're going to have a store for you at their Front Range Toyota stores at AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
I had a big bet this weekend. Well, actually, okay, here's the crazy part. Me and RK did the exact same thing because he was here for the Nuggets game Saturday night, but then Friday we had the golf tournament. So after the golf tournament, we come back to the bar, and the golf is on the TV. And I talked like 2 words to him that whole day. I accidentally made the mistake of thinking the golf tournament I was watching was going to end, even though it was Friday. So I bet on Jake Knapp. Because I was like, wait, this guy has he has a lead. Why is he plus 400? It doesn't make any sense. The next night, of course, I feel stupid when I realize there's 2 more days in this tournament. We're halfway through. The next night, RK
How many
gets
drinks in were you when you placed that bet?
none. I didn't have a drink. No.
Wow.
RK has a better excuse, but he got to the bar and was like, bro, you're not going to believe what I did yesterday. We got back here from that golf tournament, and I bet on Jake Knapp because I thought it was the last day. I was like, what the
my
heck?
gosh.
That literally happened to me. Mine was part of a parlay, though, and it was a crazy parlay. And so I hit the Magic, I hit the Mavs, I hit the Rockies. They even won that day. And there were a couple others. I can't remember. Long story short, the Nuggets ruined it. And instead of that was like 100 to 1 or something, which was
Did you need
really
just money
more
line?
than 100 to 1. Yeah. So that was even more heartbreaking than the loss,
Dang.
maybe. So the point is, I'm about to get my money back with Bet365. They offered me a very generous buyout. I could have gotten like 10, 20, like 40 times my money if I would have just clicked the button.
greedy.
But I didn't click the button because I was so sure about the Nuggets. I'm going to get that back, though, and you guys can all make some money, too. We've got a new 6-week giveaway at Bet365, and each week you participate, you get to add another chance to win a prize. So join the Bet365 community by signing up. Use the promo code DNVR365, deposit minimum of $10, and then snag a screenshot of your active account plus that minimum $10 deposit. Send a promo at thednvr.com. And you can go to thednvr.com/bet365 for more information. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, Henry, you have any more inside scoops for us?
There's one play left.
We're really clocking in under the 8.5.
Yeah. If you guys want me to do less work, I'll do less work. Don't have to tell me
We
twice.
had to like beg you to do less
I
work.
know everybody loved the Caleb Williams one. Let's see. So this is kind of my other complaint. And there's some stats that say it shouldn't be a complaint at all. But these deep balls. So this is Troy Franklin. He's gonna go up the sideline. There's no other safety over here. Like it's just this guy in coverage. You can see him dropping back. That guy ran up the sideline. Here's another angle. He's got a step. There's nobody over here. This is all just free space for him to run. Ball's underthrown, as you can see. Like it doesn't look like there's a huge separation, but there was plenty more. And because he had to slow down, the corner's able to catch up. Winds up getting tackled, and so there's just some of those little things where. Yeah, it's Bo Nix. Like he's going to complete the pass, and when you look at the 20+ yards downfield numbers, there's plenty to like there. But I do think that there's some value in trying to hit the guy in stride and turn the play into a touchdown instead of saying, you know what, I can underthrow this, still complete it, and just take my 20 yards and move along to the next play.
So do you think that his ability thrown downfield, you saw concerns often? Because there is a stat out there from Hayden Winks on Twitter who said Bo Nix had the highest on-target percentage of sideline throws, 10-plus air yards down the field among this class. Bo is at 60% on-target throws, 10-plus air yards downfield. Jaden Daniels, 59%. Michael Penix, 56%. Caleb Williams, 55%. Drake May, 52%. And J.J. McCarthy, 51%.
Yeah, I mean, this was technically on target because you completed the pass. I think, again, there's no numbers that back this up. When I watch Bo Nix, I feel like a lot of the time that he's completing passes deep downfield, the receiver's coming back to the ball. Like the receiver's hips are facing the line of scrimmage, whether it's like a deep comeback route or it's a scramble drill and the guy loops back and is coming back toward the sideline. It feels like there's more of that than just hitting the guy over the top in stride. But again, like that's, I don't have a number to back that up because nobody tracks where the receiver's hips are facing when they catch the football. So again, he completes the passes, and as long as you complete the passes, that's fine. If you wind up in situations where you're not playing efficient football and you're also not hitting those deep balls, that's where it'd be really disappointing. Zach Wilson, when he hasn't hit those deep balls, that hurts because he's not getting you the consistent gains underneath. You need him to hit the deep balls to be effective. So
when you looked at the film, Henry, what did you come away? Did it feel like it was the same Bo Nix that you were expecting to see?
I kind of said this last week. There's definitely more of the pro-style concepts than you give him credit for right away. I think there's a lot of like all those old school like West Coast concepts, like the sticks, and there's not as much of like the smash, I guess, but it's all those underneath ways to get guys open. You don't feel like at first time around, I didn't feel like I saw as many of those as much as it was just like screens and like, here's a drag route, guy's just too fast. Let's just give him the ball and let him run. But there was more of that. It all comes out of that spread offense, so the personnel can be a little bit strange. The matchups can be a little bit strange. The spacing is definitely like, it's just wide open. I mean, you go back to that very first play, like this is, oh yeah, hit the play button, and then we tap that, and then okay, well, you guys can see for yourself.
Leave it pressed.
Leave it pressed. Well, first we got to go back all the way to, well, the point is, there's just so much space. Oh, there we go. It's actually here now. Play, and now we leave it pressed. There we go. So when you just like look at how much of the field there is to work with for these three receivers, it's a lot easier to run this little fade and like the digging behind when you have this much space versus, if the hash was right here. And so there's some of those little things, they'll make the windows a little bit tighter. I mean, better defenders will also make the windows tighter. But yeah, I mean, there are pro-style concepts in there, a lot more than I think with a bunch of the other quarterbacks. And I think that's what's most exciting.
Okay, so then, Todd, when Henry's explaining that, I'm thinking, well, is this something that NFL defenses, because of the hashes and because they're just better athletes and are more prepared for this, are they just going to eliminate all of this space?
No, I don't think so. I think that just like the route works here, it'll work in the NFL. I think the speed that you have a wide receiver in college versus the speed of a linebacker is very, very similar to, the same matchup in the pros.
Yep.
And if they're clearing this thing out, I mean, this doesn't even get to the sideline. There's plenty of room for him to make this move and still be open against a linebacker. And a lot of times in the NFL, what they'll do with this route is it's an option, not just an out. So you have full manipulation of this linebacker. Wherever he is, you go the opposite. So I think there's ways to make it work, and it works in the NFL. So I think it'll be good.
How do you defend an option route if you're a linebacker?
You pray to get to the you pray you keep your leverage, you know what I'm saying? You got to break on time, not fall for the first move, and then hope that your D-line outside linebackers give you some help.
Because essentially the option route is saying whatever you do, you're going to be wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, like that is so tough for a coach to coach that and then a player to properly execute, right?
Yeah, I think because people are human, sometimes wide receivers overthink it too. So, I think there's a way for you to, mess up his timing by, as soon as he comes out, you can jump the route, and now he's a little bit off balance. Or sometimes, too, guys will have you beat and try to take over your leverage. Like, say you're inside leverage, they give you a head fake because they just want to go inside for some reason, give you a head fake, and then you're still there, and then the route's, saying? Then that's good defense when they should have just broke out and got the ball. So there's ways, it's teamwork.
Yeah. And the other part is, if you do start hitting those deep balls and you force them to sit back, that opens stuff up underneath.
Yeah.
If you get the running game going like right up the middle and suck everybody into the middle to try to defend the run, then that also can help. Yeah.
So the question that we had for this show, the headline of this show is, can Bo Nix actually be Drew Brees with Sean Payton in this offense? And the more that I study Bo, look at the tape, look at the stats, hear what Sean has to say, the more I think that he can be Drew Brees for Sean Payton. Maybe it's ridiculous to put like Hall of Fame expectations on him,
Yeah.
but what I mean by that is what Sean Payton wants in his quarterback is someone to do exactly what he wants when he calls a play. And he essentially wants, Sean Payton's 60 years old now? He wants that quarterback to be a 30 years younger version of him on the field, seeing what he sees. And I think that is something that Bo Nix can absolutely do. And I think that really when we look at this film and you show us, Henry, what Bo's good at, there's just even more pressure on Sean Payton to work entirely to Bo Nix's strengths.
Yep.
But I do think it really fits what Sean Payton's offense looked like for 15 years in New Orleans when he had Drew Brees. So I really think, and it's ridiculous to say like Hall of Fame, especially right away because he's a rookie right now. But if we look at Drew Brees' stats when he was a rookie without Sean Payton, I guess he really didn't play till his second year in the NFL. He had 17 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 3,200 yards. Bo Nix's over-unders are set to be better than that this year. His first year with Drew Brees' first year with Sean Payton, 4,400 passing yards. That actually led the entire NFL, so that's a little bit too much to ask for Bo this year. 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. And we kind of talked about these. I said last week, 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Todd, you said a goal was 3-to-1. That 26 to 11, that's kind of right in between. That's maybe like a realistic goal for Bo to have this year. So I don't think in the short term, it's not really crazy to ask him to be similar to a Drew Brees when he got to New Orleans.
Yeah, I think I always hate the comparisons. It's tough for me because Drew Brees was such a dog. I mean, like when you look at the numbers that he put up throughout his time, maybe not in his first 2 years, but you look at the top 10 of passing yards in a single season, like he's on the list like 3 or 4 times. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was a dog.
You know how many times Drew Brees led the NFL in passing yards?
He broke the record 1 year. I know that.
Yep.
And then he had to lead a couple more years because I mean, like he had 5,200 yards
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
How
He
many
had
times?
he had over 5,000 yards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times.
It's crazy.
But he led the NFL 7 times.
Crazy.
7 times.
He was putting up numbers.
That is wild.
So it's tough to say he could be Drew Brees, but I'm very confident to say that he could be successful. I feel like Sean and him can work together to blend what they both do well. Throw some Drew Brees plays in there, throw some college Bo Nix in there. I think it'll be a very successful duo.
And one more thing that we didn't talk about was just the accuracy. Now, a lot of short passes help that accuracy and completion percentage. Bo Nix set a completion percentage record at 77% in college last year. Drew Brees led the NFL in completion percentage 6 different times.
Yeah.
So that is something where they have very similar games there. And speaking of elite games, we got our guy Brian Baldinger joining us in just a second, but I got to give a shout out to our friends over at Coors Light. Man, this weekend was a perfect time to enjoy some Coors Light and just chill. Coors Light is made to chill, and if you want to chill, grab a Coors Light. Nuggets on tonight. I know some people, especially at the bar, are going to be going for some Coors Lights. If you're at the game, check out Coors Light. And then also, I think this weekend it might get a little warmer. It's a little cold right now, but if you need to chill, grab for a Coors Light, the official beer of DNVR. And to make the most out of times you get to choose to chill, Coors Light is the beer. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
And shout out to our family at Raising Cane's. We love their chicken fingers and, of course, their cane sauce. The great thing about Raising Cane's is their chicken fingers and their food is cooked to order. You don't have to worry about them being like other fast food establishments that Henry may like to visit every now and again. That cook all the food in the morning and then it sits in this nasty tray all afternoon until you come at 3 o'clock to get your food. So you can get it fresh cook to order, hand-battered chicken fingers. You can race to Raising Cane's, turbocharge your chicken fingers, and get them even faster by ordering online at RaisingCane's.com or through their mobile app. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
So, Henry, when we wait for Baldy, what do you think about the Drew Brees talk with Bo?
I think it's insane, to be honest. I mean, that guy's a Hall of Famer. Like, if Bo Nix turns out to be Drew Brees, you should be shocked. I mean, just like when Patrick Mahomes turned out to be Patrick Mahomes, you should be shocked. Even when Peyton Manning, like the incredible prospect, when he turned out to be Peyton Manning, that should still be shocking that he was that good. Like, you just can't expect that. I think, honestly, if things go well, like Tony Romo is probably a good comparison. If things don't go well, then it's like a more mobile Mason Rudolph, which isn't what you want. But again, that's things not going well. So, I mean, anything's possible, but...
Let's dive into some more comps after we talk to our guy, Brian Baldinger, who is joining us now. Baldy, what's going on?
Well, happy Monday to you. Things are going good here in the great city of Philadelphia, and just sort of enjoying a little bit of downtime right now after this whole draft season just ended.
Yeah, I love it. And Baldy, we've been talking about expectations for Bo Nix his rookie year, and I believe Vegas lines have it set at 2,900 passing yards, 18 passing touchdowns, 12 interceptions for Bo. Do you think that's about what to expect from him, or do you think that would be an underwhelming rookie season or overperforming if he does that?
18 touchdown passes, and if he plays 17 games, we'll see how the competition bears out. I mean, if he ended up playing 17 games and he had 18 interceptions in his rookie year, I think he'd be ahead of the curve, ahead of where most rookies are. But there's so many different factors that go into it. So, but look, I mean, you just go through the history of these guys and how many touchdown passes they throw in their first year. I mean, to go past 20, there's not many guys that do that in their first year.
Yeah, definitely. We haven't asked you about Quinn Meinerz in a while, mostly because there have been other things going on. I mean, what? So after the season, he's up for a contract, or his contract expires. Would you be tempted to get that deal done now? And what do you think the market for him looks like? Are we should we expect to reset the guard market when the Broncos re-sign Quinn Meinerz?
Well, I know the Eagles, kind of did that with Landon Dickerson earlier this year. They were drafted a year apart. I think Landon was 22 and Quinn was 21. Look, Sean Payton has a history of paying his guards. I mean, you look at what he did in New Orleans. He had the two highest paid guards in the league at one point. And so one just, got turned down for the Hall of Fame this year. But, there was a period of time when they paid their guards. So history says that he's not afraid to pay them. Not always his money, but I mean, the organization paid two of the highest paid guards in the league for a period of time. So it has that on his side. But I think if he gets a free agency, he's going to get a big deal. Yeah. Because he's young, he's going into a second contract. So it's a question of, can you go draft somebody who's effective and can move people the way Quinn can and play as hard and be as healthy and everything that he can? Or do you go back into the draft to try to find that guy? Because that's really your options. They don't have a lot of depth there. So, but they don't have a lot of money either. So it's kind of a difficult situation right now. But I would favor hanging on to Quinn right now and trying to figure that out. Like, just kick the can down the road, prorate the contract, wait it at the back end of it. But I would try to keep him under contract if I could.
Hey, Baldy, I want to get back to Bo real quick. I know everybody here in Denver is super excited. And they feel like the sky's the limit for Bo and Sean Payton. I know you've seen a lot of good quarterbacks, a lot of rookie quarterbacks. What are some realistic expectations for Bo and his performance as a rookie quarterback?
Well, even if you look at, say, C.J. Stroud, like, he didn't set the world on fire the first week last year. Now, he had a great course of the season. He got hot at the right time. You look at Anthony Richardson, he came out and played pretty good, got hurt in the fourth game of the season. I mean, you just look at the history of these guys. Joe Burrow got hurt his rookie year. I mean, the big thing is, can you somewhat execute the offense? Can you line up and play as many games as possible without getting hurt? Maybe you have to sit a guy down just to get him out of harm's way for a little bit. Maybe he's struggling, and you just got to sit him down the way, say, Dante Culpepper sat down his rookie year. I was in Philadelphia when Donovan McNabb was the second pick in the draft, and they didn't start him right away. But they played him in games, and over by Doug Peterson started. By the time they got to the sixth game, he became the full-time starter. But you want to try to take as much off his plate as possible, yet still be competitive. Mm-hmm. And so I believe he'll start. I don't know that there's going to be a big competition. Zach Wilson is there. We know who's there. But the expectations are, like, let's not set the bar too high. Let's try to win as many games with him as we can. Let's try to get him to complete as many passes and a high percentage as we can. And let's allow him to be aggressive without turning the ball over. Eliminate the mistakes. But we don't want him to play scared. So, I just think those are some of the factors you have to kind of be realistic about. Like, nobody goes out there and throws 28 touchdown passes and 10 interceptions. It's like, I don't know what Russell threw. Russell threw 26 touchdown passes last year. Yep. That'd be remarkable if he could do it. And he started 15 straight games. Like, if he did anything like that, that would be an unbelievable success.
So, Baldy, I just want to dive into that a little more. Do you think it is the best when you have a rookie quarterback, a young quarterback, to play them right away? Obviously, it depends on situations, but some people will point to Mahomes and say, well, he sat for an entire year. But then you can look at so many other quarterbacks who sat and didn't work out, and so many quarterbacks that played right away and did work out. Do you think there's one philosophy that's better than another when it comes to playing a rookie quarterback right away?
I think the best philosophy is to sit him. That's the best philosophy. I mean, if you can. Carson Palmer sat an entire year. The guys that, Jordan Love sat for 3 years. I mean, the best is if you can sit them. Now, it's unrealistic. It just is. But I do think there's a benefit to watching. It's a completely different game than college. Even making the jump from, Auburn to Oregon, he's looking to the sideline for the call. He's looking to the sideline for the adjustment. Like, very little is done at the line of scrimmage at the college. Now, I did a little bit more at Oregon than he did at Auburn, but he's going to see defenses and looks and situations that he's never seen before. And so if you can sit and sort of watch that and do mental reps from the sideline, I think it's beneficial. But, the one thing that Patrick learned, even when he was sitting, was just Alex Smith was a pro. He'd been in the league a long time. Mm-hmm. He'd been to the playoffs. Just his weekly schedule of what he did on Tuesdays, what he did on Wednesday, how he put the game plan together, how he digested it, what he was expected to do on Mondays when everybody else was off. Like, all those things he learned from Alex Smith. I don't think Zach Wilson is the greatest guy to learn from, although Zach got a good year under Aaron Rodgers and kind of how to prepare as a pro, even during training camp, during the offseason training camp. But it's, he's going to have to kind of learn from Sean, I think, this whole schedule and this whole process and how you digest all this information and then, disseminate it so that everybody knows what they're doing. It's just a very difficult job. But I do think Troy Aikman played. He was 1-15. He got the snot kicked out of him that year, 1989, and he learned a lot from that. A lot of guys get the snot kicked out of them, and it tarnishes them the rest of their career. Troy had the right fiber that he came back from it. In 3 years, they were in the playoffs and winning a Super Bowl in his fourth year. So I do think you can learn a lot if you have the right fiber and how you're the right metal, who you're made from, how you're made. I do think there's a benefit to playing and just taking your lumps.
I mean, going back to having Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham as the other guys on the team, though, it seems like it'd be really tough to learn on the field, too. Like, if the clips every week are, like, here's Zach Wilson's 2 interceptions that he threw, here's what he should have done differently, like, that's a lot tougher to learn from than seeing somebody run the offense correctly, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, honestly, like, they would benefit from having a real veteran quarterback in that room with Bo right now. You can't say that Zach Wilson is that guy. You can't say that Jarrett Stidham is that guy. They might have learned from different guys wherever they were before with the Raiders or with the Jets. But that's where a guy like Joe Flacco, I mean, I'm just throwing Joe out there, but that's where a guy that's had success in this league can really be valuable with a young guy. And, he's not going to get that. He's not going to get that, and so he's going to have to lean on Sean. Sean's going to have to be his mentor. When it's really nice to come to the sideline. Yeah, I'm sure Sean will turn the defense over to Vance and come over and sit down with him. I mean, when Patrick Mahomes took over, literally, Andy Reid turned the defense over to his coordinator, and he sat down after every single series with Patrick Mahomes for at least the first 2 years. And they went through what just happened, what he liked, what they can do in the next series, how they can improve. And this is a guy that was having great success in the second year, but he was still sitting down with them. Now, Sean's got to, he's the coach of the whole team. Like, I don't know if he can afford to do that, but I think it benefits a young guy to have somebody that really knows what they're looking at to really help them understand what they're looking at.
You talked about a little bit about Bo and his transition from college to the NFL. For myself as a defender, I felt like I played better in the NFL because it was more structured as far as what teams did in different personnels and what they did on down and distances, like, 3rd and 5 plus. 85% of the teams are not running it there, and then it's like you get 3rd and 8 plus, then you get a little more screen game. Like, it's very structured as far as a defender. On offense, what's it like the transition from, college to the NFL and, the schemes that you get?
Well, it's just so much more volume. So to that point, it used to be, okay, you watched all the 3rd down reels to see what the defense did on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 3 to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 7 plus. You watch all the reels, okay, they're in quarters. Red zone, they're coming after you, blitz 0, whatever. But every team is different. Mm-hmm. And so, in college, you might, if you were, if you're at Oregon, you kind of knew what Chip Kelly was doing at UCLA over the last 6 years. You kind of knew what was coming. In the NFL, like, you see how many different coordinators have changed just in this last year. Forget about head coaches. How many coordinators have changed? And so now you're trying to get a feel even early this year on what these coordinators are doing. You look at the opening schedule. Normally they back end the schedule with your division games later, which means you're going to get a lot of non-divisional games normally to start with. Although I could see them going up against the Chargers early on or something like that, just to kind of build ratings or whatever. But so you're going to get a lot of teams that you're unfamiliar with, and maybe you haven't seen, Sean hasn't seen, early in the schedule. And then it might be with a coordinator that's completely different than a year ago. And so, that's something that you have to sort of digest and build and try to figure on the fly as you start building your week and how you're game planning that team that week. I think it could be quite difficult early on just because of the unfamiliarity of what they might see. I mean, if you're playing, I don't know who you're playing next year yet, but I mean, if you're playing Seattle, it's all new. If you're playing San Francisco, it's a new defensive coordinator, different than what they did a year ago. And I could go through the whole league like that. There's going to be so many changes. In Miami, there's a new coordinator than what Vic Fangio did a year ago. So that's just the turnover in the league right now and what you have to kind of do, and some of the things that a rookie quarterback has to kind of factor in as they get ready for a game.
Well, Baldy, final one for you, and you kind of drove me right down this road here with talking about the schedule. It's going to come out potentially as early as this week, and from a local standpoint, the Broncos play the Steelers this year, and many Broncos fans think that would be a perfect week 1, maybe prime time matchup. Russell Wilson coming to Denver to play Sean Payton. From a national perspective, does that have as much of a hook to it to potentially be a primetime game and maybe kick off the season, not that Thursday night game, but maybe a Sunday night or a Monday night game?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about Russell Wilson's first game in Denver, it was at Seattle, right? Yep. Monday night. And so, I mean, they put him right up there against, Pete Carroll's on the other side, and here's Russell Wilson, and we all know how that kind of finished. But I can see that being a draw. Here's Russell Wilson, going up, against his former team, former coach, and just the friction that might exist, that does exist, that will exist. And some of the clips that we saw from last year, I could certainly see that build up as you start trying to build interest in each game, like that I didn't really think about that, but that wouldn't surprise me at all. Like that would definitely play in real time right there.
I love it, Baldy, and love having you on. Thank you so much for making time for us this week, and good luck with your shoulder surgery. We'll be thinking about you.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Baldy. Man, awesome insight, as always, from our guy. Todd, I've never heard you talk about how your transition for a defensive player was maybe easier than people expect.
That's just me personally.
Yeah. Because you're just so smart.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I do what I can. But I felt like for me, in college, you can get anything on any play a lot of times. But the NFL is so structured. Guys know their job so well that if I can kind of understand what you can do, I can know how to manipulate you pretty well, I feel like, in the NFL. And that's what I kind of did. I was like a very, very big guy studying film and trying to kind of understand what offensive coordinators like to do. Yeah. And then, when you get in the game, they don't really stray away from it too much. You may put in 3 or 4 plays per team, but kind of have an understanding of what you want to do and how you're telling your guys to block it. Kind of put myself in the best scenario.
Why does that not work in college? Is it just like a lack of tape? Is it teams changing up what they do week to week? Or is it just is it just chaos?
I think teams are I think players are a little bit more chaotic too in college.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So even when guys are supposed to do something, you can't count on them to do it. But me, I know the old line, like, you're getting paid maybe $30 million to do this specific job. If this play comes up, you're probably going to do that specific job and not stray away from it. And I don't know if that's the same for college kids. Maybe with the NIL, maybe that changes.
Just going to go block somebody.
Yeah, I'm just going to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
And what I'm going to do right now is tell you to check out TrueFunTravel.com, because we are partnering up with True Fan Travel this year for Buffs and Broncos. Sorry, Buffs and Broncos road trips. You guys know where we're going this year?
To the moon.
Yeah, pretty much. We're going to New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, we are?
Saints. We are, yeah.
So wait, we're doing 2 trips to New Orleans?
Probably just like we did this year, since we did
to
Vegas twice.
Interesting.
Because it was Vegas and then obviously the Super Bowl.
I'm not going to say no to that.
Exactly. Yeah, to New Orleans. When Sean's going to New Orleans, so are we. And we want you guys to rock and roll with us. And you can actually buy your tickets already for this. Even though we don't know when the date is, you can lock in your spot for the Broncos Saints game to see Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. We're going to be there, and with True Fan Travel, you're going to get so many things. The package includes round-trip flights, airport transfers, hotel stay in the Big Easy, a welcome crew, and a meet and greet with us, the DNVR Broncos crew, and an all-inclusive tailgate party, transportation to the game, and your ticket to the Broncos Saints game. The whole idea of this is to make it easy for you to go out and see your team and have a great weekend and celebrate with us. So make sure to check us out over at thednvr.com to get this, or you can go to truefantravel.com. Follow us on our social at thednvr.com/events to see everything we've got going on. So we've got Rockies and, of course, Nuggets tonight, Avs tomorrow, and then it pretty much rotates for round 2. So it's going to be a blast. Make sure you're rocking and rolling with us.
And shout out to Illegal Pete's. You guys know we love our Illegal Pete's. They cater our events. We have it 2 or 3 times a week. It never gets old. If you go in there, you can get a good margarita, some guacamole.
I'll be there at 5:30.
Burritos.
Yep.
Why 5:30? Specific. That was very specific.
Okay, fine. I'll be there tonight. 5:30 tonight. Wasted a syllable, I guess. I mean, yeah.
Are you going to be wasted?
I wasn't planning on it tonight because it's the Timberwolves. Like, if it's the Lakers, then yeah, you do. So that you go curse at the fans.
Don't
whatever.
tell me you're sleeping on the Wolves.
No, I'm not sleeping on the Wolves, but I don't.
That's a real team right there.
Oh, it definitely is. They're much better than the Lakers. The thing is, like, the Lakers I hate. The Timberwolves I don't like, but I don't feel like I need to be in like a vicious mindset.
You're going to the game.
Yeah.
I see. So Legal Pete's is your stop.
Yeah, and since we're going, you get a free marg or beer if you buy an entree and you have a ticket.
There you go.
Get the marg.
Oh, I'm getting the mark.
Yeah.
I don't know if that works if you're in Colorado Springs, but nevertheless, there's a new Illegal Pete's open in Colorado Springs. You can swing by and join the festivities with live music, endless margaritas, and of course, all your favorite burrito fixins. Located in the heart of downtown Colorado Springs, stop by to be a part of this historical Illegal Pete's moment. Legal Pete's, your spot for burritos, buddies, and beer.
All right, so let's kind of wrap up this conversation about comps, and of course we're going to keep talking about it. And Todd, you absolutely love the comp conversation. You threw a name out there, Henry. You said Tony Romo.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be a good outcome. I mean, Tony Romo's a Sean Payton guy. That's who Sean Payton wanted in New Orleans, but because he was the OC in Dallas beforehand. I was like, hey, can I get that guy? And they're like, no. And so he went and got Drew Brees. But yeah, I mean, it's that solid quarterback. Like, he's mobile. He's smart enough. I mean, that's the thing about comparisons. Comparisons sometimes work. Like, if you're looking at, like, A.J. Brown coming from, like, DK Mac, like, I feel like position players, it works a lot better. With quarterbacks, the comps are just, I mean, there's too much that you just can't even see that matters. You know, it's about study habits and stuff, and I just can't say, like, well, his study habits remind me of Alex Smith, you know? There's so much you can't speak to.
So we're throwing names out there. Would you guys take it if he was Alex Smith?
No.
Whoa.
That
was quick. No.
I liked Alex Smith's game.
There's almost no name you could give me. I'm rolling the dice on him being a superstar, you know?
Wait,
All
so
right.
would you take Drew Brees?
Yeah, you take Drew Brees. That's a Hall of Famer. But unless it's a Hall of Famer, like, I'm probably not, like, I want the chance that he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to just accept something that is not a Hall of Famer, you know?
So he ends his career with 3-time
Very
Pro
high
Bowler.
standards.
What?
This is very high standards.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Very
it's
high
probably not going to
standards.
happen, but that's why drafting a quarterback is so hard. Because like, if he is Alex Smith or he is Tony Romo, you've got your 4-year window, and then after that, you're paying him $55 million a year, and your window is now dead, and that's your next decade.
Yeah. So you wouldn't take a 3-time Pro Bowler.
No.
That's what Alex Smith is.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably going to be worse than that, just like if you go by the numbers, but it's not about, like, being in the top 50% of outcomes. It's like, can we get up into the top 2%? Can he be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL? I'm not interested in QB 12, you know? It'd be an upgrade, but where does that really get you?
And that's why our guy James Palmer last week told us a comp he's hearing is Derek Carr. And
Yeah.
that's like exactly where Derek Carr is, like top 12
Yeah.
quarterback. And you're passing on that. Would you take Alex Smith?
Yes, I think I have a different outlook on maybe
Yeah.
the game. He doesn't need to be like a superhero for me. If I feel like I have good expectations, and if he can take us to the moon or take us to the Super Bowl and win us one, I feel like that's awesome. If he wins us 2, phenomenal.
Yeah.
If he can just keep us very, very competitive, and where we go to playoffs every year, maybe we make it to the second round, and then in that time we find another quarterback that we love, like, I'll be happy with the job that he did. I won't feel like he was a bust and he was trash, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would take that too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if he does win a Super Bowl, I'd be happy as hell, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and honestly, for me in this conversation, where you drafted him, how much you gave up to draft him, does matter. Like, I have higher standards for Caleb Williams than I do for Bo Nix because he was the #1 overall pick. They could have traded that pick, kept Justin Fields, and got, 3 first-round picks plus, like, an all-pro, like a Pat Surtain sort of caliber player. So the Broncos just used 1 first-round pick on Bo Nix. So I do have different expectations, and kind of the way that right now I would view success, have Bo Nix at kind of a baseline of success, be the John Fox that John Fox was for the Broncos as a coach. He took a team that was just in shambles when Josh McDaniels came here, blew everything up, and he turned them into respectable. He turned them into off and on the field. He got them to the playoffs. And he just wasn't able to give them over the final hump, which was winning a Super Bowl. He got them to a Super Bowl. And then that's when the Broncos made the decision to try to make that final jump. And John Elway called the exact right shots by moving on from John Fox, getting Gary Kubiak. He was the right man for the job. That's kind of where my expectations, my hope is, a baseline hope for Bo Nix is get this thing back to respectable, be a respectable quarterback. And then, of course, anything on top of that, to me, is gravy right now. The Broncos need that. And then, let's say in 4 or 5 years when his rookie contract's up, if you think he's just that Alex Smith type, instead of paying him as a top 4, 3, 2 quarterback in the NFL, maybe that's when you go make the bold move, just like the Chiefs did. When they had Alex Smith, they traded up in that first round to go get Patrick Mahomes, and maybe that's what you do instead of paying him big-time money.
Yeah, I mean, they would be one of the first teams to, like, move on from a starting quarterback at the end of his rookie contract.
Yeah.
Like, there have been a couple, but it's just so rare. My thing is, like, expectations are different. Like, what do you expect? I expect, like, an average starter. Like, I wouldn't, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, I'm not going to say, like, oh, F that guy. Like, we love Jake Plummer here, you know, who is a good quarterback. But, again, Jake Plummer in today's era would have wound up getting paid so extravagantly that who knows how those teams actually wind up. So, yeah, it's not like this is horrible if it doesn't happen, but, like, am I just going to if I could choose today, like, oh, this guy's going to be like a solid starter, I'm not taking that. Like, you want to roll the dice. You know, I get the case for Bo Nix helping him get back to respectability, but, like, the Texans weren't respectable. They weren't respectable. They were one of the least respectable teams in the NFL, and then all of a sudden you hit on a quarterback and everything's different. And so, like, I want that roll of the dice to see if he's actually a freak, and if he's a freak, then you're off. You're off. Then we got 15 years of fun in Denver, Todd. That's what happens.
All right, let's hit the super chats, and a shout out to the Toyota chat, which has been popping off today. Love everyone rocking and rolling with us in the Toyota chat. Hit us with a thumbs up. I believe there was someone in the Toyota chat earlier that said, if you hate the Chiefs, give this a thumbs up. And I like that. And speaking of the Chiefs, we have a question coming in from our guy Steven Sholey, who says, what about future quarterback one, John, is that Matocha? Matocha. Henry doesn't like him, but then again, he likes the Chiefs. # Go Grizz.
I do like him. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. Like, he was a really good D2 quarterback, and he's like 5'11" and doesn't have a very strong arm. Like, I like him. I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. But yeah, it'll be fun. He's going to be out there at the rookie minicamp this week. We haven't gotten the full list yet. I wonder if, like, Ben DiNucci might be there. Just because sometimes they let those guys come back because you need quarterbacks.
You need bodies.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be good for him. I think he signed a contract with, like, some engineering company, like a big one. Or no, he might have a scholarship. I think that's what it was. I think he got, like, a scholarship to Oxford that he can, like, delay if this all works out. I think that's what it is.
Wow.
No, and so he's got a whole bunch of things set up for him. I'm sure he'd love to be an NFL quarterback.
So you're saying he doesn't need this?
I'm happy he doesn't need it because he's not going to get it.
Oh, dang.
I mean, if you're trying to look for, he's built very different than Taysom Hill, but in terms of, like, an athletic guy that can do a lot of different things on the field,
Yeah.
maybe it's him.
Just take, like, 50 pounds and 5 inches away, and he's Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill's still on the Saints?
Yeah, he's an awesome, fun player and put up crazy numbers. I'm pulling for him, but just realistically. It's like, what was our B.J. West?
Yeah.
He's in a similar boat as B.J. West.
Who has a better shot at making the team? A 140-pound return man who had -5 receiving yards in his 6-year career at Alabama State, or a very undersized quarterback?
I think they have the same chance. And then we should get. Hopefully, something fun happens.
Okay, to round us out, little trivia coming in from our friend Lance Johnson. He says, what were John Elway's rookie stats? In 1983, John Elway played 11 games. He started 10 games. What do you think his stats were? Have you looked him up, Henry?
No.
Okay, don't. Completion percentage.
Maybe
10 starts.
68%.
68%? Okay, Henry?
I would go like 50.
50? 50 flat?
52. We'll go like 52.
52. Passing yards is tough. So I'm not going to put that one on you guys. Touchdowns. Passing touchdowns.
10 games.
10 games.
Go 12.
15.
Yeah.
15, 12. And interceptions.
Oh, he might have had a couple of those.
Probably like 16.
Yeah.
Okay. In
18
10 games?
Yeah.
Okay. You going
12.
somewhere around there? Okay. And actually passing yards per game.
Per game, say 150.
Yeah, 150.
Okay. You guys were spot on passing yards. 151.6. Outside of that,
We're way off.
you're way too nice to John. Remember,
Wow.
this was an era where when John Elway was the MVP. Let me pull up his stats when he was MVP. He had did he win MVP in 93?
I couldn't tell you.
I think it is. I think
You
it
really couldn't know.
94. Like, I don't know. They all run together.
He threw for 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. We just talked about how we might not take that for Bo Nix's rookie season. So that's how different stats were.
Well,
yeah.
And just put more perspective, in the 80s,
I would take it too.
in 80s, the whole decade, there were 5,690 passing touchdowns. There were 5,624 interceptions. So now you're working with like a 2-to-1 interception or touchdown interception ratio on average. Like everything's different. On average, they completed 55% of their passes compared to 65% now.
Yeah, so John Elway, his rookie season, didn't even complete 50% of his passes.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I believe it.
47.5%, 7 passing touchdowns to 14 interceptions. But this is a whole different era.
It was pre-Bill Walsh.
As Hank just pointed out. So, like, it isn't fair or right to look at Elway's numbers and be like, well, he can be awful. Peyton Manning did set the interception record. He like blew that out of the water. He still holds the interception record as a rookie. If a quarterback did that now, they might not have an opportunity to be on the field week 1 the following season. So things have changed, and it's easier for rookie quarterbacks to have success.
And
now.
they really changed in like last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Because even like in the 2000s, there were 6,700 touchdowns, 5,200 interceptions. Like it's not 1-to-1, but it's pretty close. You know, on average, quarterbacks didn't complete 60% of their passes. And that was the 2000s.
Yeah.
Like there's been a massive jump just in that time.
That's wild.
Yeah.
We love offense, right, Todd?
Nope.
And that's going to do it for us. We got a fun week of shows ahead for you guys. Stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m.
We all silly like the mayor.